I hope you're healthy and safe as we navigate these difficult days. Over the last couple of weeks, I'm sure you'll all agree that from a communication standpoint, we have been overwhelmed with a lot of information every time we turn on the television. Two people who have really demonstrated to be effective communicators has been Dr. Anthony Fauci and Dr. Deborah Birx. In any communication setting, the audience, those of us that are sitting in our living rooms watching television, we are overwhelmingly swayed and impacted by the visual and the tonal components of the speaker. The message is important, but it's those visual and tonal components that bring a personal aspect to the conversation that drive us to believing whether they're being authentic and that we can trust them. So the next time you see Dr. Fauci or Dr. Birx on television, take note of the visual and tonal signals they're sending you. Watch their eye contact, their facial expressions, their body language, and their gestures. From a tonal standpoint, listen for the length of their sentences. Listen to their inflection, their tone, and also listen to their word choice. Another aspect that I've been impressed with is Dr. Fauci in how he's been able to use the Oreo cookie principle that I talk about in my sessions. Watch the following clip, and you'll notice that at the beginning of his response, he uses the word flexible. He also uses that same word flexible to close out his response. And in the middle, he drops it in a couple of times, just like an Oreo cookie. So watch the clip, stay safe, and we'll be back and talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Timeline 19 days from now.
So, I mean, that's really very flexible. We just had a conversation with the president in the Oval Office talking about, you can look at a date, but you got to be very flexible. And on a literally day by day and week by week basis, you need to evaluate the feasibility of what you're trying to do. And John, you asked for, what kind of metrics, what kind of data. When you look at the country, I mean, obviously, no one is going to want to tone down things when you see what's going on in a place like New York City. I mean that's just, good public health practice and common sense. But the country is a big country, and there are areas of the country, and I refer to this in my opening remarks, that we really need to know more about what the penetrance is there. So if we do the kind of testing what we're doing, and testing will always be associated by identification, isolation, and contact tracing, and you find after a period of time that there are areas that are very different from other areas of the country, you may not want to essentially treat it as just one force for the entire country, but look at flexibility in different areas. So I think people might get the misinterpretation. You're just going to lift everything up, and even somebody's going like that. That's not going to happen. It's going to be looking at the data. And what we don't have right now that we really do need is we need to know what's going on in those areas of the country where there isn't an obvious outbreak. Is there something underneath the surface that says, wait a minute, you better be careful and really clamp down? Or what looks there that you don't really have to be as harsh as you are in other areas. So it's looking at information that up to this point, John, we never had. So it's a flexible situation.